Good evening, I'm Mr. Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. Remember when Najib Abdul Razak's lead defense lawyer Shafee Abdullah injured himself after his guard dog jumped on him? Now he may have somehow landed in a more serious situation. Possible exposure to COVID-19. This is no laughing matter. Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak's lead defense counsel Muhammad Shafee Abdullah came in contact with someone who was in direct contact with a COVID-19 patient. Following this, Najib's entire legal team are now under self-imposed quarantine. This message was conveyed by Shafee's lawyer, Noor Farhah Mustaffa, to Justice Collin Lawrence Sequerah at the Kuala Lumpur High Court this afternoon. Noor Farhah said Shafee came in contact with the person during a kenduri at Shafee's house last Saturday. Najib, who is on trial for embezzling money from 1MDB, was present in the courtroom at the time. Is Malaysian society fairly represented in the new Perikatan National Cabinet? If you ask this question to the former Prime Minister, he'll tell you, nope, not quite. Racial representation is not balanced in Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin's government, according to former Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad. In an interview with Sinar Harian, he said the composition of the government is such that it looks like a government of Malays, thus is unlikely to be supported by the Chinese and Indian communities. He said therefore the majorities of Malay parties like UMNO, Bersatu and PAS will be reduced in the next election. Mahathir also expressed fear that Muhyiddin would turn his back on reintroducing the teaching of mathematics and science in English. The new Prime Minister is also likely to maintain the teaching of science and mathematics in Malay because he does not like teaching those subjects in English, according to Dr. Mahathir. Mahathir noted that Muhyiddin was the Education Minister when PPSMI was reversed. The new cabinet consists of members from the Perikatan National Coalition, including BN PAS Bersatu, with the support of GPS, and 11 former PKR leaders led by Azmin Ali. Will the Grand Master of Malaysian politics finally lose at his own game? In a little over a month, we will find out. But for now, Dr. Mahathir Mohamad doesn't seem to be going down without a fight. Come April 18th, 189 Bersatu divisions across the country will vote for their new national leadership. And this would be the best chance for party members to choose between Dr. Mahathir Mohamad and Muhyiddin Yassin. However, according to the former Prime Minister, despite who emerges as the winner, the government will not fall. Mahathir said this in an exclusive interview with Sinar Harian yesterday. Following the collapse of the Pakatan Harapan government, Mahathir had wanted to form a new government of technocrats that did not follow party lines. However, he was outmaneuvered by Muhyiddin, who joined forces with PKR defectors, BN, PAS, GPS and other minor parties. Muhyiddin, who was sworn in as Prime Minister on March 1st, had also sought to take control of Bersatu by assuming the position of acting Bersatu chairperson, ignoring Mahathir's official hold on the position. According to Bersatu's constitution, the position of chairperson is the ultimate authority, superseding the position of president. Muhyiddin is the current Bersatu president. His move to seize control of the party's top post means the seat is now in dispute, but this may not last for long, with the polls on the horizon. In politics, nothing is set in stone. For example, the shift in allegiances, which brought down the Pakatan Harapan government last month. The landscape may have changed, but according to Saifuddin Abdullah, he is still the same man. With the new Perikatan National Government coming into power, there have been fears that media freedom and freedom of speech would be adversely affected. However, according to the new Communications and Multimedia Minister, Saifuddin Abdullah, there's no need for such fears.
I'm the same Saifuddin. They uphold freedom, democracy, human rights and rule of law.
Saifuddin was also asked whether he would bring back the anti-fake news law.
Well, as I said, we have to have this balance. Freedom of the media must be upheld, but you cannot compromise on fake news. So the nitty-gritty as to how we operationalize that will be, of course, discussed in the cabinet in the first place. And then we will see what we will do. But I can guarantee you, I can assure you that I will continue upholding freedom of speech, freedom for organization, including freedom of the media.
Last year, Malaysia had scrapped the Anti-Fake News Act. In 2018, the Dewan Rakyat passed a bill to abolish the act, but it was halted after the Senate rejected it. The bill was tabled again in October last year and approved by the Senate in December. For Muslims, the Friday prayer is an obligation, and as long as the coronavirus situation does not get worse, prayers may go on as usual.
There will not be a need to cancel Friday prayers following the outbreak of COVID-19, said Minister in the Prime Minister's Department in charge of Religious Affairs, Zulkifli Mohamad. However, he said the prayers should continue with some changes made.
Jadi, mengambil hukum asal wajib, kita katakan solat Jumaat tetap wajib. Cuma beberapa sarana yang kita bagi dalam situasi seperti ini sekarang. Pertama, kalau boleh khutbah dipendekkan. Khutbah dipendekkan, kita straight kepada poin yang hendak disampaikan.
Members of the public are also encouraged to take ablution at home, while mosques should provide hand sanitizers and masks as precautionary measures. However, Zulkifli said if the spread of the outbreak reaches uncontrolled levels, the prayers can be cancelled. Zulkifli said this at a press conference after delivering a mandate to the religious agency under Prime Minister's Department at the Tuan Kumizan Zainal Abidin Mosque today.
According to the Health Director, public gatherings may not be the best idea for the time being.
Health Director General Noor Abdullah has urged the public to postpone mass gathering activities to avoid the possibility of contracting COVID-19. In a statement, Noor also urged those experiencing respiratory issues to avoid crowded areas and public programs, including religious activities. Those with symptoms are also advised to distance themselves at least 1 meter from other individuals and not visit other places in the country during the school holidays. He also advised the public to avoid travelling to countries with widespread COVID-19 infections. The Health Ministry yesterday revealed that some 10,000 people had participated in a religious gathering at the Sri Petaling Mosque in Kuala Lumpur, where a Bruneian man infected with COVID-19 was present. As of noon yesterday, Malaysia recorded a total of 149 COVID-19 cases with 26 recoveries.
Coming up next, the US has closed its doors to Europe in a bid to keep the coronavirus out. And Fukushima attempts to leave its old reputation behind. All that and more after this. The Environment Ministry claimed that Malaysia Kini reported the minister's statement inaccurately. So what did he really say? We have him on video.
The Environment Ministry has rebutted a news report stating that its minister Tuan Ibrahim Tuanman had purportedly defended logging activities in Kelantan. In a statement, the ministry said it wishes to stress that the report published was not accurate. It was referring to a report carried by Malaysia Kini yesterday titled New Environment Minister Defends Logging in Kelantan. The ministry said logging activities come under the jurisdiction of state governments. So what exactly did the minister say when asked to respond to the criticism on logging activities in Kelantan? Let's take a look.
Kan kata mengurus alam nak jaga alam sekitar kan. Kan kerajaan Kelantan yang kena criticize sebab logging kan, atau isu pembalakan. Pembakaran also.
Kelantan kalau kena dia dapat sijil. Penerbangan dapat sijil pun.
Dapat sijil.
Kemudian komplain negeri lain yang langsung tak dapat.
Okey.
Kemudian sebahagian tu kerana sentimen lah.
Okey.
Sentimen akan membakar. Tapi kita bertengok saja. Bagi kita serius untuk menangani isu pembalakan.
Mexico is the least of Donald Trump's problems right now. He's got the coronavirus to worry about and he has announced drastic measures. US President Donald Trump has announced a suspension of European travel to the United States for 30 days after the outbreak was formally declared a pandemic. This is an extension of the US travel restrictions he imposed last month on airline flights from China.
To keep new cases from entering our shores, we will be suspending all travel from Europe to the United States for the next 30 days. The new rules will go into effect Friday at midnight.
Trump also announced several economic steps aimed at cushioning the blow to American businesses struggling with a sudden loss of consumer demand. His announcement came after Italy, the worst affected country in Europe, enacted severe controls by shutting bars, hairdressers and restaurants, along with other restrictions already in place. The United States has yet to enact any large-scale containment measures, but major sporting and music events have either been cancelled or postponed. The NBA suspended the season after a Utah Jazz player tested positive. Meanwhile, Hollywood star Tom Hanks said he and his wife, Rita Wilson, had tested positive after they felt tired after slight fevers in Australia, where he is working on a film. As Fukushima prepares to host baseball games for the Olympics this summer, can it leave its past behind it? This summer, Fukushima will play host to the Olympic baseball games in what organizers have labeled as Japan's Reconstruction Olympics. Their mission is to repair the region's reputation on the world stage after Fukushima became synonymous with an earthquake, tsunami and nuclear accident that devastated the area back in 2011. 18-year-old Ryomo Ochi, a baseball player from Itate, a rural village in the Japanese prefecture of Fukushima, was only 9 when the disaster forced him and his family to leave their hometown.
When the earthquake hit us, it was graduation season, so there were tables placed for the graduation ceremony, and I hid under one of them. While I was under the table, the gymnasium walls started to collapse and fell into pieces. I ran outside when the shaking subsided for a few seconds.
The disaster ended up being a blessing in disguise for Ryomo, who got to move to a much bigger high school where he became a baseball star. But for his father, Kazuo, the transition was much more difficult. No one wanted to buy food from Fukushima, and Kazuo had to leave behind the fields his family had tended for generations. The abandoned fields are now a dumping ground filled with hundreds of bags of contaminated soil and leaves. Before the disaster, Itate was recognized as one of the most beautiful villages in Japan. Locals long for that name to be restored. And here are more headlines from today. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. I'll see you again tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Michael. Thank you for watching.